What are you looking at, Reba? So anyway, we got the seed starting trays out, and I got 2 different types, and I believe I have 10 things I need to start. So we're gonna do 6 of each in each tray, and just sort of work our way down and do 10 rows, and then it'll leave me 12 at the end that I can put whatever I want in. And yeah, I don't know what am I putting those. Probably some butterfly weed, maybe some more Adamasco lily. Those would be nice to add. I think they'll do well. I just didn't have any sources. And yeah, we're just gonna figure it out, and hopefully one set works. All right, so the seeds we're gonna be planting are Giardia, American wild carrot, butterfly weed, sickle pod. Nothing out of here, I don't think. Well, I've got some dahlia. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about them in detail in a minute. Muck sunflower, lyre leaf sage, Carolina / Guatemalan indigo, black-eyed Susan, landsleaf coreopsis, and frostweed. And some of these are less of a priority than the other because I have, potted plants. Like muck sunflower is pretty low on the list. We probably won't plant it just because I have 5 pots of the stuff and you can't kill it. Giardia is another one. I have so much seed, and that's another one down there, and we have the plants out of the house. I probably don't need to start it, so I think I'm just going to do like 6 plugs or something like that, just, as insurance. But we won't do the full 12. Butterfly weed, we're going to do butterfly weed, American wild carrot, sickle pod, maybe not so much sickle pod, and landsleaf coreopsis, black-eyed Susan, indigo for sure. Some of these are a little bit trickier than others. So like I said, we've got the Giardia, we got the American wild carrot. I don't have a lot of seeds for that, and they're all from like 1 plant, I think, maybe 2. How many stalks? I got about 3 or 4 stalks in there. Got butterfly weed. I have had a devil of a time ever getting this shit to start. Pardon my French. But I have had no luck getting those things to start, and I hear they hate being transplanted, so she may be a next year plant. Sickle pod, never had a problem getting those to start, but these are old seeds. I think they're only 2018, it looks like. Thalia dealbata, I've never had this come up. I've always just transplanted it, but I don't have any to divide, so I know a place I can get it, but I think I'm substituting it with cannas for now. Muck sunflower, like I said, I got tons of pots, plus I've never had a problem with them not coming up from seed. We'll probably kick them out. Lyre leaf sage, I have, I believe, 2 1-gallon pots of this that I'm getting, so shouldn't need to do that, but we'll do 6 of them just to be safe. We have Carolina indigo and Guatemalan indigo. Now indigo is an absolute devil to get started, so we're going to do as much of this as we can. Got black-eyed Susan. That stuff, I've always had trouble getting it to start, but once it starts, it volunteers just fine. I think there's just certain eco types that do well here. Coreopsis lanceolata, that one's not going to give us trouble at all. And frostweed, I got 1 pot of it, but we'll try and see how much seed I got left in here and start a couple of them as well. Oh yeah, also forgot, I got this stuff. Found it on the side of the road. Don't know if it's going to do well. I think it likes well-drained soils, droughty, well-drained soils, but we'll see. We'll start a couple. All right. Giardia is in, and American wild carrot is in, and I've got way more of this stuff than I thought I did, so that's fantastic. I'm gonna be able to direct sow that some, so we don't have to rely too much on these guys, but we're still gonna do them anyway. I'm sure these things will hate being transplanted considering they're a carrot, but whatever, they'll get over it, hopefully. Okay, so we couldn't do muck sunflower because I forgot those are unsorted seeds, and I harvested those at like the end of the winter, so there's a lot more chaff to seed in there than anticipated, so I can't really find any seeds, so we're going to broadcast that instead. And like I said, I've got so many pots of it that we don't really need to start that from seed, so that'll just be broadcast, which opened up another chunk of this. So we're going to do 2 rows of powdery alligator flag in here because they're huge seeds, so I can only do 1 per plug, and they're big plants. And we're going to hope that they're still good. I think those are from like 2017 or something. No, yeah, into 2017. I think those are from a plant I transplanted. And we already did sickle pod, did 2 rows of that. Got 2 rows of butterfly weed as well. And yeah, my sort of strategy with this is I'm just putting, like, for the larger stuff, 2 or 3 seeds in it, like the sickle pod and the butterfly weed. I did 2 for the butterfly weed and 3 for the sickle pod. and I'm just sort of taking a pinch and doing it for these smaller seeds like the Giardia and the American Wild Carrot. And for the big boys like this powdery alligator flag, which I think is the only big seed I have other than maybe that stuff, we're just doing 1 per. And we'll direct sow some more of those as well. I don't know if these will even do in the garden just because they require so much water. They are like an emergent wetland plant. But I know cannas will grow, and cannas and these serve the same purpose. But I'd rather have these because they're more native, better representation of our native flora. But they're probably not going to do. So I'm going to plant both them and cannas, and if one dies and the other doesn't, then no real loss. Alright, that's all I got of Carolina indigo, so I'm going to try and go for 2 per plugs over here in these guys since they hold together better, because these really hate being transplanted. So I'm going to put them over here. I'm going to try and fill in the holes just a little bit and get them, maybe only 1/4 of an inch deep, and just wait for the C17 to pass overhead and then stuff them in there, and hopefully we'll get at least one of them. I only really need 1 plant, so here's hoping. I can find one and dig one up, and I'm probably going to do that. But as an insurance policy, we're going to do this. It's not a very good insurance policy, but it didn't cost much, so we'll give it a stab. All right, and there's everything that I needed to get seeded. So we've got 3 rows left in each, and I'm going to figure out some other stuff I want to plant. I've got a couple more milkweeds. I think I might try some of, I believe this is butterfly weed. I'm going to try some of that, some of this, I guess more butterfly weed. I think I have some tropical milkweed in here somewhere, maybe, I don't know. And I've got some red wing milkweed, so we'll see if any of those come up. I've also got some dwarf Joe Pye weed that I guess I'll try as well, and some of that guy. So we're just gonna have at it. We're gonna plant, I guess, put the 2 of the milkweeds in here, 1 of those in there, and then we'll do the Joe Pye weed, and I guess more milkweed over there. And yeah, we're just gonna have a ball with it. So we got another, what is that? Math is hard. 36 more plug spots to go. So I think we'll do 6 of those, 6 of the red wing milkweed, and 6 dwarf Joe Pye, and figure out the rest. So I'm gonna go dig around in my seed bin and see if I can find anything I want to plant. Well, I guess first I should show you what I actually have in here. So in this one we have 6 American Wild Carrots, 6 butterfly weeds, 6 sickle pods, 6 powdery alligator flags, 6 Carolina indigos, 6 Guatemalan indigos, and this is an heirloom variety that I found growing wild on Bailey Island and Edisto Island, and I think it might be a naturalized colonial escapee. So we'll see about that, but it could just be escaped Ossabaw, because there is a small operation about 2-3 miles away that's growing Ossabaw indigo, and it could just be that somehow got over there from somebody who was over there, and they just sort of Johnny Appleseeded them out there. But they were growing out in the middle of like a 400-acre preserve, and I mean that full-on preserve. So I got my hopes. But anyway, then we have a black-eyed Susan. The heck is that? Oh, landsleaf coreopsis and frostweed and wind. It's only windy here whenever I need to, do something that requires not wind. Whenever it's like 100 degrees out and I'm trying to do manual labor, there's no wind. But whenever it's, a day when I actually need to do something that requires no wind, there's wind. I don't get it. Anyway, so in this one we have Giardia, more American Wild Carrot, more butterfly weed, more sickle pod, more powdery alligator flag, but we also have lyre-leaf sage, more black-eyed Susan, more landsleaf coreopsis, and more frostweed. And we have those 3 left on each. And over here I have red ring milkweed and some more butterfly weed and some more butterfly weed and an unknown milkweed, and I think that's probably tropical milkweed. So we'll try probably at least one of this and one of the mystery one, and maybe one more of these other ones, and we'll fill up all of these with that. Well, actually, we'll do the mystery one over here, and we'll do one of these, and one of these guys over here. And I was trying to get another species of Baptisia, but they weren't able to get it. They weren't able to source it. So this one's good enough, so we'll use that one, but I don't know if it's going to do. I have that as sort of a backup replacement for the coral bean. The coral bean's not really a pollinator plant other than butterflies, so if we can get that to grow, I'd rather do that than coral bean, but I'll still try and dig up a coral bean, and I think those transplant decently. And I hear the wind coming, so I'm gonna shut up now, and we'll see how it do. What are you snoofing? What? Need to be petted? Is that a sufficient number of pats? Not quite. What about now? No? Still haven't pet you enough? There you go. You get one ear rub, that's all you get. Alright, so these are our contenders. We're definitely going to be planting this, this, and this in these guys. And over here, we're definitely going to be planting this and this mystery milkweed over here. And I haven't quite decided whether or not I want to do lupine or bluebonnet. I didn't really have much luck with bluebonnet. It took forever to get started and it really didn't like the heat. So we're going to try this lupine because I stole this from the Carolina Sandhills National Wildlife Refuge. Don't tell anyone that I committed a felony. And we're gonna plant that because it does great in sort of dry, wretched soils. So I'm assuming it should do fine here. So we're gonna make an attempt for that. This is a good host plant for a species of butterfly that isn't found where I have this garden, but I can still interpret it. So we'll try that and screw the lupine. And yeah, that's what we got. And I'm gonna get to it before this wind picks up again and blows everything everywhere. All right, there we go. Ready to put the lid on her now. So we've got the dwarf Joe pieweed, the unknown milkweed, and the unknown lupine. The only reason I don't know the lupine is because it wasn't blooming when I found it. It was just dead and dried out. And I know it's like one of 3 species. So we'll figure it out whenever it blooms, or we won't. All right, just 50 miles to go with the detour downtown. This is gonna be fun. All right, weather's kind of nasty today, and there's apparently supposed to be a chance of tornadoes. So I've just stuck them in the shipping container, and I'll leave them in here for a week till the weather looks better, and then we'll pull them out. I want them to be out in full sun as soon as possible, but it's supposed to be a bit chilly this week, this weekend, and I really don't trust this wind, so we're gonna stuff them in here in the dark, and hopefully the little mouse who lives in here, who I know is still in here because there's a little nest there, and then it was gone the next day. I don't know how he got in here. I don't know how he's still alive. He's been in here for like a year and a half, but hopefully he doesn't try and get in there. And if he does, we're gonna have to get rid of a mouse. So we're gonna lock it up and let it sit for a hot minute. Right, well, it's been 4 days and we have our first signs of life. Don't know how well that comes out, but the Gaillardia is already sprouted, and that's the only thing so far, but I didn't expect anything, so that's good progress. May move these outside here today. Don't know. I kind of don't want to keep them in the dark too long. And that's exactly what we've done. We're just going to let these guys marinate out here in the sun so I don't have to harden them off. Or everything will croak. One of the two. If they can't survive this, they ain't going to survive in this garden. That's the way I see it. Alright, so today's the day for irrigation. And turns out I'm an idiot and I forgot to get an adapter here, so we have an adapter to go from pipe thread to hose thread. Didn't realize that they were different thread pitches, so we got that figured out and I didn't ruin the hose. We've got the other splitter hooked up, and I just have this stuck here because we'll probably just take this cap off and either probably stick it here for the time being. And yeah, I guess we should probably check on the seeds. They're a little bit crushed, but that's kind of a good thing because it allows them to vent some. And pop these lids off and see if something good is happening. Oh yeah. So what is that? So we got Lanceleaf Coreopsis coming up. We got Black-Eyed Susan coming up. We got Gaillardia coming up. They all look mostly healthy. Not seeing much from anything else. We got some sort of bug in here on the frostweed. Interesting. Yeah. Let's check these guys. Got high hopes for these fancy guys. Oh, and look at this. We already have nut sedge coming up. You cannot get rid of that, even if you compost it. Hate that stuff. That's going to be a major problem. That and the betony. As you can see, the betony's coming up too. And we hit blackberry. I should have sprayed. Why didn't I? Don't really got an excuse. Alright. Moment of truth. Ooh, we have one sickle pod coming out. Ooh, we have a lot of Guatemalan indigo. We have more black-eyed Susan, more lance-leaf coreopsis. That appears to be it. No milkweed. I was hoping for a little bit more. It's been a whole week. But anyway, today is irrigation day, not seed day. Plus, we got, this guy already over here that we can maybe rely on. I don't think I see any germinating just because of how dry this compost is. We got this thing. Don't know what that is. That's coming up through there. Yeah, that's all just betony. That might be a Gaillardia right there. Maybe. Let's see about the rabbit tobacco. I don't expect anything much. That's something here. That might, that's a grass seed. I think that's a dicanthelium. We shall see. Mine plants tomorrow. I'm gonna get to running irrigation. Gonna hook up, turn on the pump, make sure all this pressurizes and works correctly. And then we're just basically gonna run poly tubing with a bunch of complicated connectors and everything to the front of every one of these. And then we're gonna throw heater hose on top of it. Let's get to it. Houston, we have water. Nice. So, all right. Let's just go over how this whole irrigation system is started. So over there we have a shallow well, and on the shallow well we have a hose bib directly connected to the expansion tank. And on there I have a Y splitter, and on the Y splitter I have a 5/8 garden hose connected, run out of the well cover all the way over here. I'm eventually going to bury this in conduit, but we're getting these trails done and I need to be able to pull this hose up. So we're not going to do that yet. So I'm just going to leave it on top of the ground for the time being. And that comes over here, goes up into an adapter that goes from male hose thread into female pipe thread. That goes into a 90-degree elbow, which is cast iron and not zinc plated because that's all they had, which goes to I believe a 4.5-inch pipe nipple, which is drilled through a 4x4, connects to a like a 45-degree hose bib. That hose bib is then connected to a Y splitter. Don't just ignore that. That's just there because I have it. And then this Y splitter goes down here to a vacuum breaker, which prevents backflow. Not really an issue here in this sort of system, but just nice to have it just in case. Helps keep if there's any leaks in this system, it prevents the water from running out of the hose and this losing its prime. So it's just nice to have for that reason. Might get plugged though, but we'll leave it for the time being. I can take it out if needed. Then it goes to a flushable screen filter. This keeps large chunks of sediment out of all of the other bits in the irrigation system, which is important because they will clog it. This has a flushable nozzle on here that I can throw to bleed the system. This leads down here to a mechanical timer, and as you can hear, it's clicking, and that can just be set to off or just straight on, or to any other increment that I want, and that'll be nice for the irrigation system because I can swing by here in the morning, set it to whatever speed, and then walk away. This goes down here to a 25 psi regulator. I need this because we have soaker hose, and soaker hose does not like being overpressured, and this system is, it's a shallow well, so it's like, I think it maxes out at about 55 psi, maybe 60 something. So we need that just to, and this also helps keep the flow consistent, so that if water pressure is different between one day or the other, it sets the max flow. And I would rather have a little bit less water than a little too much water for the plants I'm trying to do. Maybe not, but this helps keeps things consistent and allows me to water more efficiently. And then down here at the bottom we have a starter fitting for our poly tubing. And that's the whole system. And I can show you that it does indeed work. Turn on the hose bib, open this, nothing comes out. Open the flushable filter, water comes out. Set this guy to on, and we get water. Nice, laminar, consistent flow. Shut this off, no more water. Turn this. All right, there's the irrigation system plumbed in. All I gotta do now is put on the soaker hose and the end caps for them, and we'll be ready to rock. But I think I'm at the point now where I wanna test them. So let me just go over what I did. So over here at the starter, we got just enough poly tubing to run down to the bottom. Then we have an elbow which runs right on over to a T which splits off here. And we got a valve on this side to run that bed. We got another T right here which goes up to an elbow which goes up to a valve for this bed. And then we got a valve for these two beds. Then you run on over here and you have a valve for this bed. And if you notice, there is a little bit of a downside in this system. And that's that I don't have a valve for this bed. I could have done another thing like this, but I elected not to because this is supposed to be the hyper irrigated bed and this is supposed to be the xeriscape bed. So this bed is going to have tons of water and this bed's going to have very little water. So if I'm irrigating this bed, I'm going to be irrigating this bed, so I don't think it's going to be an issue. But if it becomes one, I'll just do another one of those right there. Not a big deal. Just need to cut this hose, move that over, maybe sister in a little piece over there, or I'll probably do it from this direction or something. We'll figure it out. It's not a big deal. And yeah, I've got all the valves closed, so we're gonna hook this up, pressurize the system, and see if anything leaks. All right, put you to 15 minutes. It's running water into here, so let's open this valve. All right, bleed the air out. Air has been bled. Now we'll open this one. Air has been bled. We'll open this. Got that guy and this guy. There we go. Close that. Close this, open this again, and open this again. I don't see any leaks. I think we are good. Nice. We've already got minor bees coming in here, doing their thing. Didn't take them long. I already saw a different species over here too. That looks like a metallic sweat bee. There she is. Whoop, there she went. So there's definitely a need out here if they're using this thing already. Soaker hose is all hooked up. And my general strategy was just try and serpentine it and get it to cover as much as possible. And I can clearly see inefficiencies and where I can make it better, and I'm just not going to fix it right now. And it'll hopefully work. So I just kind of fit it to the spaces that I have lined up already, just to make sure, like this guy right here, very clearly not doing too well. I probably need to pull this over just a little bit. I think I might do that real quick. But yeah, generally where I want it. I've never run irrigation before, so I have no idea what I'm doing. I just use sod staples to hold everything down, stuff from the cotton plot. And I've got sod staples holding this stuff down. And I think we're ready to test. So we're gonna crack open the hose bib, crack open this line, blow the air out, set it to 30 minutes. We're gonna pop a line and see what happens. Hopefully not pop a line. All right, it's a soaking. That needs to be fixed. We're gonna close. What are you doing? Air in the line or something. We're gonna close this line. We're gonna open this one. That needs fixing too. Man, they sent me some crummy end caps. Close this one. Open that one. Close. No, close that one. Alright. That's leaking too. Man, I think I might need to put some plumber's thread on those end caps, and we'll open the last one. There it goes. This one's going to take a while because this is running both lines here. There she goes. Every single one of those leaks, so we're going to put some painter's tape on them. I'm going to crack open all of these and just see what our flow is like. Well, as can be anticipated, the hose right here at the front has the best pressure, so it's dripping the fastest. This one's doing pretty good. This one's doing a little bit worse, and that one's kind of slow, but once again, that's the Xeriscape. That's the semi-wet one. That one's whatever. These two are wet. That one's whatever, this one's whatever. This one's super wet. This one's dry. And I think they're doing pretty good. So I'm gonna get to sealing these end caps because I already torqued on them. And I think that's it for irrigation. Now that all we got left to do now is plant, I think. All right, so we just took some Teflon tape. This is the thread sealing kind, and we have probably put it on the wrong direction, but shouldn't matter with this kind of application. And I'm just gonna take two hands, torque this on real quick, and then we'll run over and test them and see if they still leak. All right, whoops, looks like I forgot to turn on the mechanical timer. So anyway, everything's good now. None of the end caps are leaking. We have a tiny pinhole leak over there at the very end, but nothing I would be concerned about. You know, it's a soaker hose, it's supposed to have leaks, but it was just sort of going tss. But anyway, I think this is all going to work. I'm not burying these just because I haven't planted yet and because I want to be able to change them, so I don't want to bury them down in there and then need to move stuff around. So we're not going to bury them this year. I may mulch over the top of this, in which case they will get buried. We shall see. I think mulch will be necessary for weed control. This little bee over here is trying to make a nest in my screw holes instead of in my dang bee motel. Anyway. Oh, falcate orange tip. Not a rare butterfly, but they're not common here on the coast, and I've never gotten a photo of one. So that's neat. Well, I think that's a good enough stopping place for the start of this garden. This is just the introduction. Next step is going to be planting down here. I'm picking up plants tomorrow, and got my seed trays started back there. You saw all that. Yeah. So this is my garden. This is what we're doing out here. This is my sort of minimalistic satellite pollinator garden. Hopefully this should work out great. I've never done anything with irrigation before, and I'm hoping that's going to allow me to do a lot more that I wouldn't normally be able to do in a habitat and a location like this. So stick around. I'll be, planting these shortly hereafter, and we'll be going through the whole process of getting these things started and the progression of this pollinator garden. Don't really know what to say. If you like this kind of stuff, give the video a like. Go down there, comment, tell me what I could be doing better. Like I said before, I've done gardens like this before in the past, but I've never done anything with irrigation, so this is entirely new to me. And yeah, if you want to see the rest of it, go down there, subscribe. We'll be continuing this series as we go. And until next time, I'm out.